So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane,
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
On the latest Club Random episode, Bill Maher dismantled Jane Fonda's woke monologue, and it was pure, unfiltered chaos. Fonda showed up ready for the usual softball podcast, where her every word gets applause. Instead, she landed in Maher's den, where Maher, cool and razor-sharp, lives to slice through political theater. Let's break it down.
Is it about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No, I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are.
There's a lot going on here. Jane Fonda's been in the Hollywood echo chamber so long, she probably thinks real life comes with a makeup trailer. Decades of red carpets, standing ovations, and applause from the woke elite have fogged the line between substance and spotlight. In her world, slogans are facts, and speeches replace solutions. But Maher? He's not reading from the same script. He's stepping in with a truth-tipped pin, ready to burst that Hollywood daydream and drop Fonda back to reality, where rent's due, and dumb ideas hit hard. Get the snacks. This crash is flames.
They became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people. Why is he now tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much. They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what
By people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
You can feel the static just before the sparks, that tight, loaded silence before two opposing worlds collide. And here's the twist. Jane Fonda slams Maher for saying the far left's lost the plot, then turns around and kind of proves his point. You can't write irony that rich. It's the go-to move of the progressive elite. Deny, deflect, then confirm the critique without blinking. It's like watching someone step on their own line in a play they helped write. Maher doesn't miss a beat. The crowd catches the shift. And Fonda? She's about to get a front row seat to her own contradiction. Buckle up.
Who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no.
I know, but a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries.
Yeah.
Don't go to North Korea. Don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous?
Woke isn't just an attitude. It's a full-scale worldview creeping into schools, government, Hollywood, and even the dictionary. It's an ideology that trades logic for slogans, flips facts into fiction, and treats emotion as the highest authority. That's the core problem. This stopped being about justice a long time ago. It's now about control dressed up as kindness. Maher danced close to that truth, but never really drove it home. Maybe he didn't want to poke too hard at his own side. Still, someone has to call it. Woke culture isn't progress. It's reason bleeding out, slow and silent.
You really think men can get pregnant? That kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. And the way they insist on blurring that line is if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans people.
Nope. Trans women can't get pregnant. That's not hate, it's human anatomy. Maher nailed it. The trans movement deserves dignity, not dominion over scientific fact. There's a big difference between asking to be seen and demanding that others abandon reality. When activism says men can give birth or that sex is just a vibe, it stops being about inclusion and starts being about illusion. That kind of radicalism doesn't unite, it isolates. Real change doesn't come through censorship and outrage mobs. It comes through truth, liberty, and honest talk. Once facts are off limits, dialogue dies, and with it, any path to real progress.
Rights, respect, and protection for trans people. We get that.
So I've never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane,
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue team.
I mean, I don't know. I read two papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far.
And that was the breaking point. Jane Fonda tried to dodge like a pro, pivoting harder than a politician caught red-handed. One second she's backing the woke brigade. The next she's pretending not to know anyone who says men can get pregnant. Seriously, Jane? That claim's been shouted from podiums, printed in headlines, and plastered all over social media. You don't get to act brand new just because it's politically messy. When she realized the trap, she tried to spin it again, calling the woke crowd a tiny corner of the party. But Mark cut through it fast. This isn't some fringe whisper. It's the bullhorn of the modern left. In that moment, the mask slipped, exposing the denial, the dodge, and the desperate attempt to rewrite the room.
I mean, I don't know. I read two papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture myself.
I'm for the team that understands that everybody should have the same opportunities, that everybody should be able to attain a middle-class life.
That's right.
Yes,
that's not what we're talking about.
And that's where it landed. Jane Fonda, out of moves, throwing in a half-hearted wisecrack about how she probably should have watched more Fox News. But the laugh didn't land like she hoped. It felt more like an unintentional confession, a quiet nod to the fact that she's been sealed inside a curated bubble for years, surrounded by applause, sheltered from dissent, and floating on the same scripted soundbites. She missed the shifting ground beneath her. Outside that cocoon, people were having real, messy conversations. Ones that don't trend on red carpets. Maher didn't yell. He didn't mock. He just peeled back the curtain. And in that moment, Fonda got a rare glimpse of just how far her worldview had drifted from reality. Sometimes the truth doesn't roar. It just pops the fantasy.
That certainly has been the history of this country. Was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people. Because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them and are.
That's the flaw at the heart of woke ideology. It runs hot on passion, but cold on foresight. There's rarely a follow-through, just a sprint to the next hashtag. When the energy dies down, the slogans vanish, and no one sticks around to clean up the fallout. Look at Defund the Police. It echoed through streets, headlines, and hashtags as the ultimate badge of justice. But when crime surged and communities suffered, many of the same voices either backtracked or disappeared. The painful irony? The people most hurt by these emotional, knee-jerk campaigns were the very ones they claimed to champion. Feel-good activism might win hearts in the short term, but without strategy, it leaves scars. Moral theatrics without plans don't solve problems. They create them.
The Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress, and all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by old school liberalism. The ACLU, it's all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this book.
This kind of divide isn't accidental, it's engineered. The far left thrives on chaos because outrage creates obedience. Their goal isn't to persuade, it's to pressure. If you don't repeat the mantra or fall in line, you're labeled, shamed, or erased. It's not about unity. It's about control wrapped in a warm, fuzzy disguise. We've seen countless people publicly dismantled for simply expressing a different thought or questioning the dogma. That's not progress. That's authoritarianism in progressive clothing. Until the left relearns how to tolerate dissent and actually embrace uncomfortable dialogue, calls for inclusion will remain hollow. You can't unite a country while torching anyone who dares to disagree.
At some point, you on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day and nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new and very dangerous.
This kind of divide isn't accidental, it's engineered. The far left thrives on chaos because outrage creates obedience. Their goal isn't to persuade, it's to pressure. If you don't repeat the mantra or fall in line, you're labeled, shamed, or erased. It's not about unity. It's about control wrapped in a warm, fuzzy disguise. We've seen countless people publicly dismantled for simply expressing a different thought or questioning the dogma. That's not progress. That's authoritarianism in progressive clothing. Until the left relearns how to tolerate dissent and actually embrace uncomfortable dialogue, calls for inclusion will remain hollow. You can't unite a country while torching anyone who dares to disagree.
You on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day and nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new and very dangerous.
Strangely enough, I'm siding with Van Jones on this one. What we desperately need is a digital space where real disagreement can breathe. A forum where opposing views don't just survive, but sharpen one another. Right now, algorithms act like ideological bouncers, feeding us comfort food for our biases while blocking anything that challenges our lens. That's not awareness. It's curated ignorance. If we're serious about healing division, we need to step into conflict zones, not avoid them. We need more listening, less dunking, more full conversations, fewer 10-second clips. Until we tear down these echo chambers and let ideas collide honestly, we're not discussing reality. We're rehearsing our delusions. And that's the real danger. Anyway, if you dug this breakdown, hit that like, smash subscribe, and stay tuned. Catch you next time.